sleeping in bed right now.
And what am I supposed to do with this information?
I wanted to say hi. What
Hey,
time
BBH.
it is in France?
It's 11 p.m.
How do you say that in French?
23 heures.
Because we don't speak like... you know, like, today there's the show, right? And like, right now.
Wait, no. What did you say? I can't understand.
There's the show you're always missing every Tuesday and Thursday. You managed to miss your own show.
Well, if you hear that, that means he's awake.
Well, so he's late. He just got the guest and he's explaining him the talk show. So I think we have time to put another song. Cause, except if
Sounds
silly, bad.
a little bit like a meme.
Tell me when you're ready.
Okay. And you can go.
Sound.
Well, that means it's not ready. So we have time to put another song. You know what? Since it's Christmas soon, really soon, let's go with the Jonas Brothers with Like It's Christmas. Right now on the Hit, your favorite hit music station. You're live.
What's up, Hey, we're here, everybody. How are you guys doing? Let me go ahead and tweet this out. Debate Podcast Live. www.twitch.tv/onlyhitus. All right, so this debate show, everybody, for those of you who are unaware of the details, is very simple. Essentially, it is the weirdest debate / talk show in the world where we basically argue and debate about crazy topics. So, for example, we pick a topic, we debate it as if we seriously, genuinely held those beliefs and we're committed to them 110%. Whether or not we actually are, okay? We're just going to do that. We're going to go in, we'll pick a topic, we'll debate it, and we're going to have a memey old time. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. Are you ready? I am here with Yinscape. Yin, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone.
Anyway, so he's going to be my debate buddy for the day. All my other debate buddies were busy, quote unquote. So I had to pick my leftover debate buddies, which this is actually Yin's first debate on the podcast. So this is his first time here. So we're going to see how good he does. Are you guys ready? This is going to be exciting. All right. So for those of you who don't know how this works, we pick a silly topic, right? So in the past, for example, we have done all children are required to wear tracking collars at all times that they cannot remove, right? And then one of us will be in favor of said topic and the other will be opposed to it, right? And sometimes we've also taken a topic and we'll pick the opposite of a particular topic. So, for example, everybody should be required to wear Crocs, and then the other would take everybody should be required to wear like no shoes at all, or something like that. So that is essentially what we're going to do today. And the topic we have picked today is everyone is only allowed to buy goods. So basically, all goods must be sold as either fully assembled or all goods cannot be sold fully assembled at all. So essentially what this would boil down to is if you go to the store and you buy a couch, your couch cannot be fully assembled. In that they have to sell you it in parts, you take it home and you assemble it together. You assemble it yourself versus your couch must be sold to you not in parts, it must be fully assembled. And it must be completely and fully assembled. Okay, so that would also apply to pretty much anything. So if you buy a smartphone, the two positions are either A, yes, your phone is fully assembled when you buy it, no assembly required, versus B, no, you have to assemble your smartphone yourself. It's sold to you in pieces and you have to assemble it. And this would apply to things that are only 5 or more parts. So anything that has 5 or more parts in it, this would apply to. And it's not like you would have to assemble your smartphone completely from the ground up. It's just some assembly must be required. So because your smartphone has 5 or more parts, that would mean that if you went with the assemble position, you would have to assemble it in 5 or more parts. And, we can get into the nitty gritty of whether you could be certified or whatever. But let's focus mainly on the IKEA aspect when explaining and sort of think about it like that. Everybody has probably assembled IKEA furniture at some point. Well, this law would essentially treat everything like IKEA furniture in that everything you buy that can be assembled, you would have to assemble it if it was 5 or more parts to assemble. Okay, so, what's that? You went to the store and you bought an alarm clock and it's got 5 or more parts? Congrats, you have to assemble it. And the other person will take, no, IKEA furniture is bad. That style of assembly is awful. People should only be allowed to buy finished goods. So that would be like, no IKEA furniture. So IKEA is probably going to go out of business because you would have to fully assemble something before you sold it to the consumer. Anyway, there we go. Does everybody kind of understand how this will go? I'm sure you guys do. All right, here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. So Yin, heads or tails to be in favor of, let's say, everything must be fully assembled. Heads or tails?
Give me heads.
All right. So if it lands on heads, then Yin will be in favor of the position that everything must be fully assembled when it is sold to the consumer. And I would then be in favor of, no, everything must be in parts when it's sold to the consumer, and the consumer must assemble it themselves. If it lands on tails, then I am the one who is in favor of everything must be fully assembled before it or when it is sold to the consumer, and Yin would be the person who would be in favor of everything must be in parts when sold to the consumer, and they must assemble it themselves. All right, you guys ready? Here we go.
Let's get this started.
Oh my goodness. Hey Siri, flip a coin.
Tails.
Tails. So looks like I'm in favor of everything must be fully assembled. Yin, you are in favor of everything must be in parts when sold to the consumer. So Yin is taking the do-it-yourself assembly position, like with computers, for example. I am taking the fully assembled position, so like pre-built. So in my worldview, essentially, building your computer yourself would not be allowed. All right, so I think we're clear on the positions. Let's begin. Oh my goodness. All right, Yin, do you want to open? So we open the show by we each essentially do a couple minutes of our opening position, our opening kind of statement. This is the non-interrupting point. So we each get to talk for 2 or 3 minutes uninterrupted. Do you want to go first or second?
Sure, I'll start.
All right, go ahead.
When we say we want to buy things in parts, this gives us a more IKEA-like experience. And what does that mean? When we say IKEA-like experience, this means that we get to buy a object, say computers. We can assemble this thing in parts. We already have a lot of things that let us do that. We have the IKEA furniture that, I bought a chair yesterday. I assembled it in parts. What does this really give me? This gives me experience. This gives me the idea that I had some part in assembling this. This gives me that, I didn't just buy a chair. I bought something that I had a hand in making. It gives it a personal touch, if you will. It doesn't mean that like everything's going to be like an Apple iPhone where the internals are all sealed away. I can actually put stuff in there if I wanted to. It lets me verify that each part is up to snuff. Each part is up to good quality. I can go in and actually say, this Wi-Fi receiver is not secondhand. This piece of wood is good. I can go and weigh this piece of wood and say, oh, this is actually good wood. Whereas if it was a pre-assembled chair, a pre-assembled phone, I can't do that. I can't just go and like weigh out and make sure that all the screws are non-rusted. I can't just go in and say, oh, my parts are of quality. Now, the second thing is, with a DIY part-by-part basis, the computer or the object, I can get replacement parts for it. I can replace the individual modules for it. I can mix and match components from a different type, but same, a different model, if you will, of that same chair. If I want a chair with like a really good back and a harder seat, I can. This gives me so many more options. And to be honest, assembly won't be that hard anyways. Now, I also want to add that this experience that you get is invaluable. This experience that you get from assembling something, that personal touch, is, to be honest, irreplaceable. It increases family bonding. You can bring friends over if you want. If you have a lot of furniture, it gives an excuse for you to basically hang out with your friends, hang out with your family. It lets you do stuff. I don't know why anyone would not actually want to have that personal touch in all of their things. Over to you, Bad.
Thank you, Yin. In the words of the immortal Sweet Brown, ain't nobody got time for that. I am a busy guy, okay? Why do I have time to sit around and start building all of my stuff, okay? There are certain things that I want to be built for me. I don't want to be sitting around with screwdrivers, with all of that meme material and all the different things looking at. Have any of you guys ever actually assembled IKEA furniture? It is a pain in the butt. Is it a rewarding experience? Yes. But guess what? When I buy IKEA furniture, I know that I am picking it and I know that I'm going to get that rewarding experience. But sometimes I just don't got time for that. And if I have to do that with every single purchase, that's going to drive me insane. Hours and hours every day just assembling it. And yeah, it might cut down on some of the cost, right? It might make some items cheaper because now they don't have to pay somebody to put the parts together, but it's going to add extra cost, and that some items are going to be a lot more bulky to ship to you because they're going to have to, or wait, some of the items are going to be a lot more confusing to ship to people, and they're going to be a lot more problematic for people. Wait, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, but essentially think about it like this, okay? Yes, somebody might not have to assemble it in the factory, but I'm going to have to assemble it. And I don't have the time for that. I would rather pay a slightly higher price and have somebody else do that, okay? I want the other person to assemble it. I don't want to have to assemble it, okay? So I think leaving the items as fully assembled is the way to go. Okay, leaving the items and requiring them to be fully assembled helps save time, helps cut down on the problems associated with wasting all that time in assembling it myself, and it just makes for a better experience. It saves a bunch of time, and I think that's worth the additional cost in spending a little bit more on an item that is, it's going to have to be assembled. I understand it's going to probably be in a bigger box. So yeah, if you go and buy a desk, you're not buying a desk that's not assembled. If you buy a chair, you're not buying a desk that's not, or a chair that's not assembled, and then you have to assemble it at home. Yeah, you're going to have bigger boxes, but so what? You're spending less time having to put things there. And guess what? There's no risk of having to worry about your item potentially, getting broken or not having the appropriate parts in the box when you buy it. Which, how many times has that happened? Where you get an IKEA box or something like that, Are you okay, Rat? That you'll have to assemble, and then where'd this extra screw come from? Oh no, I didn't put it in somewhere. Oh well, I just think that's a waste of time. That's problematic, and I don't like it. And there you go.
Interesting that you would pull out the extra parts or the broken part. I found more from my buying experience that when I buy something whole, something bulky, something that's not in parts, not in parts, that things end up broken easier because parts tend to be just, flat squares or just oblong shapes or anything. Those are easy to pack. If you wanted to buy like mail order couch or a mail order window or something, you could, and you could easily ship that and easily pack that. But if you bought a pre-assembled massage chair, like I did a few months ago, I bought a massage chair. Okay, I bought a pre-assembled massage chair. It actually that was a slight lie. It came in two parts: the leg rest and then the rest of the body of the chair. The chair came pre-assembled, and the box was massive. It was unwieldy. Wow. It required two specialized people to come in and bring it in. It was massive, bad. I couldn't move it. They had to remove the door from my house. That pre-assembly basically keeps a certain size of object just coming into my house as well.
Yeah.
If I wanted a slightly wider chair, I could not.
Yeah.
It said if it was pre-assembled, I could not have that chair in my house. I had to knock a hole in my wall to bring that chair in my house.
Okay, but
is that really
having
what you
to
are?
Assemble it. Imagine that.
I did assemble it.
Yes, imagine having to assemble it from like the ground up. You really want to have to go through and piece all those parts together. You want to IKEA chair at that whole thing. You want to IKEA it, a massage chair. That's a lot more complicated than an IKEA table. I don't know. Like I built computers, right?
We're not saying we're making the chair from scratch, bad. We're not saying we're going to add the handrest and we're going to stitch the fabric together. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're talking about puzzle piece in it. But
yeah, you can do that, and it's relatively easy. I did take it apart a little bit. We actually had to put the leg rest in there. We had to do the plugs and everything. It was relatively easy.
Okay, now I want you to imagine doing that for everything. Okay? That just sounds like a nightmare. You're a busy guy, Yin. Do you really want to spend like 8 hours of your day just putting stuff that you buy together? I don't know. Some people are not that fast at putting stuff together like
stuff do you buy that 8 hours a day is required to go and assemble it? I really, really doubt you have the money or the frivolosity to buy that much stuff. Is something that's arriving at your house like every hour of the day for you to balk at the full-time job that is assembling your Amazon purchases?
This is
I
true.
Doubt.
But that's not taking into account all of the stuff that I have already bought that was no issue to me because it already came assembled, right? I didn't have to assemble my refrigerator. Imagine if I had to put all of the different pieces together, right? Like bolt and screw the door on, put all the drawers in, and mount all that stuff in like I was putting together IKEA furniture. Or imagine if I had to do that with my keyboard or my microphone stand or my monitors.
That is what you did with your keyboard.
I didn't assemble my keyboard together.
Your keyboard has keycaps. Your keyboard has switches. Your keyboard has a bunch of different parts.
That were pre-put together.
Those keyboards. You can take them out and you can say, I want different switches.
And that's great.
Is that not what you wanted to do? Is that not what you wanted to do?
I think with that added complexity comes the added risk of now somebody is assembling their stuff. They might get things lost. They might lose things, okay? I just recently had to take apart my mouse to fix it. Nightmare of if I had to assemble this thing, oh my goodness, I probably wouldn't have bought it in the first place. I probably would have said, forget it. Ain't nobody got time for that. I would have said,
what type of problems are you having with your mouse?
I was having problems that it was double clicking.
Yeah, and how long did you have this problem for?
A week before I decided to take it apart and fix it.
It took you a week before you had the guts to actually go in there and take it apart.
It took me a week before
if you took it apart at the beginning of the week, if you just said, day one, it's double clicking, and you had the understanding of your mouse to just go and, disassemble it and fix that problem, would that not have saved a lot of headache?
It would have. However, it wouldn't have saved me the headache of having to put it together the first time I had bought it. Okay, I would have been much more frustrated. I would have been very annoyed. I think, look, people who find themselves in a situation where they're buying goods, right? They're buying goods and services and different products, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to protect people from the issue of finding themselves in a situation where they bought something and it has too many parts, right? It comes in too many parts. Okay, of buying something and finding themselves in a situation where they're confused at even how to assemble the item, right? Where they're constantly just stressing over that. Okay, we need to protect people from having those experiences that put themselves in a position where they get frustrated because every single item they want to buy is something they have to assemble, okay? The frustrating experience of putting something together, of finding that certain parts that you bought for it didn't work, is very frustrating. Anyone who's built a computer has bought something where a part was broken, a part didn't work, and that experience is frustrating. Why put yourself through that agony when you can just buy a fully assembled computer, and if it doesn't work, you just return the whole thing and get a new one? That seems great.
You've already defeated your own premise. The assembled whole can also be broken. Now you have to send back the assembled whole back. You could actually do the whole troubleshooting part yourself and just say, oh, I need an extra of this tiny part. Instead of just saying, this whole bulky part, I need to send this whole blender back. I don't know what's going on in here, but it's broken. You could instead say, oh, the motor is broken and it's still under warranty. Here's my proof that it's broken. Can you send me a new motor? You could do that instead of just shipping the whole thing back. Is that not appealing to you?
I think while that is appealing for some things, I think our consumerist culture has gotten to the point where people don't want that. They want things quick and easy. People value their time a lot more, or at least they claim to. And so people...
This is a time saver.
It's not a time saver. Look, guess what? If I have to send a part back or get a new one or whatever, guess what? I'm still without a blender. Why not just send the whole thing back? They send me a new one that works. I don't have to spend any time reassembling it. Oh, my blender stopped working. It's still under warranty. Send it back. I don't have to get a new blender that I then have to assemble, okay?
But if I helps the economy.
Guess what? Having people buy goods that are already put together will help the economy too, because then people can just go buy already put together goods, and companies are going to have to hire someone to assemble those goods.
I think you're misunderstanding me here. It helps the economy. It lets people, or companies, if you will, offer longer extended warranties, because now the cost of fixing a product isn't the whole shipping of the entire product back and then replacing or the refurbished or a new product. It's, I have to replace this tiny part, or I have to replace this failed part, and they're only shipping that part back. The warranty, or the cost to fill a warranty for a company, is now so much lower.
I don't know. I think people value their time more. I think people would rather spend less time doing something that could be done by somebody already at the factory, that they don't want to sit there and have to assemble their product, okay? People who value their time more are going to be very frustrated by this. I understand there are going to be some people who they might enjoy the experience, and that's fine, but I think there's significantly more people who are in the position of they just want the goods already pre-built. And I think you can see that by most goods already come pre-packaged, because or people who make these goods know that people don't want to have to assemble their coffee maker. They want all of their products pre-assembled because that saves them on time, and people value their time more. I think if people don't value their time, they might be on board with this. They might be like, hey, I'm fine with spending, 15 hours a day assembling stuff. And, to some people, that's great. Some people, they don't like that. And they don't want to spend 15 hours a day doing that.
I am saying that is an absolute tragedy that these people don't want to do that.
Tragedy?
Absolute tragedy.
A tragedy that people don't want sore hands with cuts from tiny screws that they're having to screw in.
We will let the market decide that. We will let the market decide that. We will have...
The market did decide it. I didn't have to buy my mouse. In part, I bought it and it was already pre-assembled because I would have been really frustrated. You know how frustrating it was taking this thing apart? It's very frustrating, Yin. Okay? I was this close to just buying a new one. I just didn't want to spend all that extra money buying a complete new one. Okay? That's the whole point. I was like, you know what? I will see if I can fix it. But if I couldn't fix it, not everybody is savvy like me, Yen. You're basically condemning stupid people to a life of misery because how will they ever be able to get anything in their house? They'll be sitting... there are people who are too dumb to assemble IKEA furniture. I'm not hating on the dumb people, but I'm just saying...
Those are the people that... Actually, no, I will disagree. Those people can't even live alone because do you know why a lot of the military comes with step-by-step handbooks, like just straight up, hey, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's because
lowest common denominator.
They are going for the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
There's no reason why or how you could actually screw up. There's no way for you to screw up. So parts, like just saying listed instructions, is the best way to accommodate stupid people.
Yeah, that's true. But, the military also, since we're talking about the military, has said that there are certain people who are too dumb for the military. Okay?
Those people we give to assisted living.
And
those people do not live alone.
Yes, but there are some people, right, who are going to slip through the cracks, who are going to be living alone. Right? And you're condemning them to a life of never having assembled products. Their house will be filled with open boxes, one labeled coffee maker, one labeled refrigerator, with all the parts scattered all over the floor. And they're like, how do I store my food? Because they can't figure out how to assemble anything together. And I want to help those people. My solution is let's skip the step of having those people. Let's skip this step of assembling people. Mine is the true lowest common denominator approach because mine just says, forget it. Nobody assembles anything. Everything comes pre-assembled. If your thing breaks, buy a new one. No having to assemble anything. It's beautiful. It's magical. It saves a bunch of time. It's the simple approach. It's also the most effective one at protecting people from themselves.
I would say that my approach lets people... Have you ever watched Forrest Gump, Bad?
Yes.
Yes. Did you see how quickly Forrest Gump was able to disassemble and reassemble that rifle?
Yeah.
Record time. Record setting. Someone like Forrest Gump may not be employable anywhere, really. Not even the military. He was pretty terrible at that too.
But he was really good at assembling.
He was able to do a single task really quickly, really effectively. He was single-minded. He was super focused.
And he will be on the assembly line during the final stages of production in my world when they go and assemble the product together and shipped out to the consumer. That's where he's
I am giving power to those stupid people. I want to give power to them. I'm giving them a job. I'm giving them a job to actually go around and do handyman services. Go around and, my blender isn't working. He's going to disassemble your blender. He's going to put it back together. Record time, in and out. He's going to have a box of spare parts. He is now $100,000 a year employable worker.
So now I'm gonna have to spend a bunch of money on hiring some guy to come and assemble my stuff for me if I'm not bright enough to assemble it myself? What? How does that help me?
That's essentially what's happening. You're just moving him from the assembly line into your house.
Yes, but guess what? That's cheaper. If he's on the assembly line, he doesn't have to drive from house to house. He's assembling hundreds of them a day in the factory right there. He's going together. Okay? If I have to pay some guy to drive out to my house, that's going to be a lot more expensive for me. Plus, now I've got some stranger in my house looking at my stuff, touching my stuff, and he's going to be gross and covered with germs, and I don't want that.
But now you get absolutely all of the benefits from having a personal touch in your blender. You can now say, yes, I can optimize this blender to how I want it to. I can pay someone that's really good at optimizing this blender to make better smoothies. If your blender is making a tiny noise, you can now pay someone to come and help you. This opens up a myriad of different fields.
Myriad. Oh, yen. You are condemning the stupid people who cannot assemble products themselves to one of two lives. Either the poorhouse, because they're spending all their money having somebody else assemble their stuff, right? Or to the life of not having any products because they can't get anything and assemble it themselves, okay? Either way, that's going to hurt them, okay? I don't want to have to pay somebody to assemble my Logitech mouse or assemble things that I can't. And I wouldn't, because I'm one of those people who wouldn't be hurt by this other than I'm going to be wasting all my time assembling stuff, okay? There's certain things that just don't need to be assembled. And while the experience of assembling it might be rewarding for some, for others, it's torture. Do you want people to be tortured, Jen? Is that what you're saying, that people deserve to be tortured?
Absolutely not. For something like a mouse comes in around 4 parts, actually. Like, you have the whole unibody case for the buttons and stuff. You have the bottom, you have the cable, and you have the actuator inside.
And you have a million screws. Tiny screws. Little bitty screws. And I had to buy a special screwdriver in order to screw them in. A little itty bitty teeny tiny screwdriver. Okay, every single one of these screws was so tiny. I lost one, still can't find it. So I'm just saying, from personal experience and recently having had to reassemble something, I probably would not have bought this mouse if I had to assemble it beforehand. I would have bought one that would have been much more simple and easy to assemble.
This fights against non-user serviceable parts. This fights against products that intentionally break after 2 years. We all know a lot of people have that Apple iPhone that has, say for instance, 2-year lifespan, and then the battery dies or the battery explodes and stuff happens. Your phone becomes slower. Now, if people were forced to assemble
assemble their phone?
Yes, we can have it. We can have it in easy to follow, step-by-step kits. It doesn't have to be that hard.
You remember when Samsung was having that whole battery explodey issue?
Yeah.
Could you imagine now a bunch of dunderheads with their massive meaty hands clumsily assembling an exploding phone together in their own house? Oh no, I just punctured the battery. Battery acid all over me.
Well, I guess the battery has to be better protected then, huh?
Okay, well, we need to protect idiots from themselves, Yin. Okay, I don't think you're helping people.
A product that really truly wants mass adoption must meet all these criteria. A phone that's too hard to make, too hard to assemble, that phone is just not ever going to sell well, and that is great for us. That means that phone, that only good, durable, reliable, user serviceable products are going to be sold.
This is true.
Those black box products like Apple iPhones, where they hide malicious stuff inside your phone, just tracking devices on your phone, those are now in plain sight. And if someone really wants to go ahead and just, take a peek, take an analyzer to it, they can. Now, if they don't want to, they just want to follow step-by-step parts, also can. This gives us a lot more control over where our products come from, how they're assembled, and we can with more granularity find out defects, which lowers costs, lowers shipping costs and shipping time, and really does just give us more gratification when we finally assemble that gosh darn phone.
Okay, I see where you're coming from, and I agree with you that yes, products would probably become more simple and easy to assemble. But I also think there are certain products that doing that too would be very challenging. It'd be very challenging to make certain products with a lot of small parts easy to assemble so that consumers could buy them unassembled and then assemble them. I think that's where you get into when you make things really small, you make them really complicated, it becomes harder for people to assemble them, and it becomes more complicated for people's lives if every little thing, especially if they're in like, an emergency situation or something like that, if they have to go and assemble a product that they really need, right? Like if I spill water on my keyboard, I don't want to have to take it home, go to the store, buy a new keyboard, take it home, and assemble a keyboard, when I really need it, like right then. That's going to be frustrating for me. I want to be able to buy a fully assembled keyboard without having to put all the different keys on them. Like, I don't want to have to pull up on my phone, what's the keyboard layout look like? This can be really frustrating for me. I think it's going to be frustrating for a lot of people. I think you're putting a lot of people in a really awkward situation.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit here. I think you're purposefully misrepresenting my argument here.
I think you're purposefully
bad. You've had those toys that put triangle shapes into holes. You've had those toys that try to fit things into holes.
Not the same thing as being a triangle shape in a hole, okay? And
assembling a keyboard absolutely is
with that. Yes. But what you're failing to see here, you're viewing this as you're looking at, look at all the benefits. You're ignoring all the downsides, like the time cost. I think you're severely underestimating the time cost involved.
Are you trying to tell me that as a child, you were having issues with those toys that had you put square pegs in round holes?
I wasn't, but I guarantee you a lot of people are in a position right now that if you told them, listen, here's a mouse that you bought and it's broken, I want you to take it apart and put it back together. There are a lot of people who would struggle tremendously with that. That would be a nightmare. What?
Nothing.
Hello? There are a lot of people who would struggle with that, who would be like, you know what? That is the last thing they want to do. They would rather go to the dentist office than get all their teeth pulled than do that, okay? And that you're condemning people who can't do that to a life of absolute pain and suffering and misery.
Interesting. You bring up dentist office there. Now, what if every town had a local handyman shop that you could actually bring stuff to if you didn't want to assemble it yourself?
Again, you're adding additional cost where additional cost doesn't need to be.
The cost was there already. It's hidden from you.
Listen.
This is moving from the assembly line, possibly hiring child labor bad. This is hiding the assembly cost of using children.
Need jobs too.
Are you actually unironically arguing for child labor?
Are you saying that children in struggling countries, okay, that their families are struggling to make ends meet, that we should just take away their jobs?
Dad, those children died.
Are you saying we should I'm not talking about children in cobalt mines. That's different. I'm talking about children who are in factories, which, remember, child labor was taken out of the equation in the U.S. because unions didn't want to have low-wage competition. It had nothing to do with the morality of the issue. It was totally a union technique
but you
to
do
get rid of
agree
low-skilled
that child
labor.
labor is cheaper in that you want cheaper stuff.
I'm saying that the reason why I'm saying that kids can help provide a means in certain situations. So I'm not saying I'm in favor of everything, but I will not say just unequivocally that child labor is inherently bad. It's not inherently bad, because if you're going to say that's inherently bad, then every child that helps their family on the farm, or any parent that says, hey kid, go out and mow the lawn, let's arrest those people. That's obviously absurd. I think it's not a black and white issue.
Bad. The context was not, we're employing children to mow the lawn. We're saying we're employing children to do hard assembly in assembly lines in remote countries. No one has any issues with children mowing lawns. However, we were on the topic of assembly and repetitive assembly done by children.
This idea that children should not work and be able to earn wages is a very modern Western idea. Okay, it's an idea in countries where people are getting enough money that they don't starve to death. Okay, it's a very privileged notion that a lot of people have. Okay, in countries where people are not making enough wage-wise, guess what? Everybody contributes to the family. Everybody works. Okay, I'm not arguing in favor of child labor. I'm arguing against this very westernized notion that dictates that any form of child labor is inherently bad in these third world countries. In a lot of these third world countries, that's how the families survive. Is that the way it should be? No, I would prefer it if kids did not have to work. And I think that as countries develop, you see that happen. Just like in the United States, we banned a lot of types of child labor. But in some of these countries, that's how the families survive, is by having the kids go out and work in certain fields as well. And you'd be condemning a lot of those kids if you said, no, their assembly line job, no, it's gone because Westerners want to assemble all their products.
Westerners should assemble all their products because the alternative is exploitative child labor.
So those children and those families should just starve to death?
Fine. Child labor is fine if it's not exploitative. If they get the same worker protections as we do here, the cost of hiring a child is basically going to be the same cost as hiring an adult anyways.
I agree. Hey, we're getting off a little bit on a tangent when it comes to... Obviously, neither of us is in favor of exploitative child labor.
But this is what your system, the status quo, is enforcing.
There are ways of countering that. Your method is not going to... Guess what? Somebody's still got to build those parts that go into those mouths. And exploitative child labor is going to be used in there. So you're not getting rid of it. Child labor is still going to be present in the system, okay? Your method doesn't get rid of it.
Children do not, piece by piece, assemble circuit boards that go into iPhones.
But children can do other parts of the assembly. They can press a button that lowers a mold into a vat or whatever. There's a bunch of things that children can participate in.
Do that, yes.
Yeah, and so can children. I'm saying that to say that your system will automatically remove child labor from the system, or exploitative child labor, is flawed.
But you will agree that this is a step forward. This will reduce the amount of child labor. This is reducing the amount of end assembly, therefore reducing the amount of assembly.
I think it's very likely this would just move child labor. Anyway, getting back to the point, my main point is not about is not focusing on child labor. My main point is this: people are busy, okay, and people don't want to spend every hour of every day assembling their products, and that is what you're condemning them to a life of. You're condemning them to a life of spending every waking hour of every day assembling every single product they buy. No bueno.
We've already addressed this in the beginning of this stream. I've already said that you're not buying 8 hours of assembly worth of goods every day. You are doing that, then you have way too much money, bad. You have way too much money.
Wow. Okay, all right.
I'm not spending that much time.
It's time for closing arguments. We get a couple of minutes each to do closing arguments. Okay. Basically, remember, guys, this is a debate show where we pretty much pick a topic and we defend it. Anything we say is not something that we actually believe. Just keep that in mind when we say stuff. But anyway, here we go, Yin. Do you want to go first or second?
You go first. I went first earlier.
Okay, I'll go. All right, closing arguments. Here we go. Again, in the immortal words of Sweet Brown, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay? Everybody who is sitting here listening might be thinking, I mean, assembling stuff, that wouldn't take that much time, would it? But everybody in here has already bought the majority of their goods pre-assembled. So don't just think of it from the perspective of future products being assembled. Think of it on the basis of every item you had ever bought. What if you had had to assemble that? Because that is more what your future is going to look like. Every mouse, keyboard, computer part, phone you buy in the future is going to have to be assembled by you if Yin gets his way. In my way, you save time. You save headaches. You save little cuts on your fingers. You save frustration. All of that gone. Because when you buy a phone, you're not buying a bag of jumbly parts that you have to put together into a phone. You are buying a phone. You're buying a phone charger. You're buying a phone case. You're buying a keyboard. You're buying a mouse. You're buying an alarm clock. You're buying a desk. You're buying all these things that are put together, wonderfully put together, that you don't have to waste your time. Okay? What would you rather have? The thing that you're buying costs 5% more and it's put together, or every single thing that you buy being maybe 5% cheaper, but congratulations, you have to assemble it yourself. That is frustrating. Just the idea frustrates me, and I know that people value their time more than that. They value their time more than the supposed experience. And guess what? If people want to have that experience, go buy a puzzle. Don't make the rest of us suffer for your desire to want to assemble everything. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody got time for that. I cede the floor to you, Yen.
You see, bad is treating everyone like children. Mentally underdeveloped children. And I find that personally insulting. You can spend a few minutes of your day assembling your phone. You can spend a few minutes of your time assembling a table. You can spend a few minutes of your time getting to know the insides of whatever you're buying. You don't have to be at the mercies of big companies like Apple, Google, whatever, and not know how to fix a basic chair, a basic phone. You can bring your ability, your personal ability, your personal touch to everything you buy. This makes for a more skilled populace. This gives people more... Who's messaging me? This gives you more control over the serviceability of your parts. If you don't have the time for that, sure, we're increasing the cost it takes for you to go and have something pre-assembled. You ship your objects to a middleman in your house or something. Say, hey, please, assemble this for me. And you can. This isn't going to make it so that it's impossible for you to get things pre-assembled. I'm saying that retailers cannot give you a item completely black box, pre-assembled. And, well, to be honest, that's pretty scary. We don't know if your chair has been screwed in properly. We don't know that the child in South Africa has done his due diligence into assembling your iPhone. But this moves the assembly part to someone that you can look into the eyes and say, yes, you did screw this up. And I think that's beautiful. I think this is wonderful. This is a world that I personally would love to live in. This moves the assembly, all the individual parts, into my face, saying, this, I can appreciate the ingenuity, the complexity in each of my devices. This this engineering, this cynicism that comes from people just saying, "Oh, it's just an iPhone. I'll just throw it away when like I don't want it anymore." That's hurtful. That's hurtful to the environment. That's hurtful to society. I think that if everyone had a more personal touch, more personal connection to everything that they own, instead of mass ordering everything off of Amazon and saying, "Oh no, I'll have to assemble my stuff 8 hours a day." I think that if we reined it in a little bit, we would all live in a better place.
Ain't nobody got time for that. That's my closing reply. I get an extra sentence after you're done. Anyway, alright. Thank you, Yin, for participating. Everybody, I'm gonna post the poll on Twitter. I'm gonna leave it up for just 3 minutes. So here we go. Who won the debate? Yin or Bad Boy Halo? I want you guys to vote. Remember, vote for who you thought defended their position the better, not for who you like the most, okay? Vote for who defended their position the best, not who you like the most. Here we go. And the options are Yin, Bad Boy Halo, and then Ty, and then didn't tune in. Alright, here we go. The poll length, let's set it for 3 minutes. You guys got 3 minutes. Go vote. And there we go. I sent a reply to my last tweet. So go check my Twitter at Saints of Games and follow me and make sure to vote in the poll. Let's see who will win. Yeah, if there's any mods in the chat who want to post the link to it, go ahead. But anyway, that was a good debate, Yin.
That was interesting. That was fun.
That was interesting. That was fun to defend something. Because, I mean, I like, personally, building computers, right?
Of course. That's what I'm trying to hook into.
Yeah,
That for you.
The idea of only buying pre-builts would be infuriating. But I would also say the idea of only buying bags of parts would be equally infuriating. So I don't know if there is 100% right position on this, but that's what makes this debate show fun, is we're arguing kind of a silly topic, right?
Look, someone, it's a little bit secret here, but like, as someone that had to assemble that chair yesterday, let me tell you, my leg does kind of hurt from propping up that seat in like the most uncomfortable way possible. My leg still a bit hurts.
Yin concedes. He just conceded to me. But no, exactly. Every time I think I've ever put a chair together, it's just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have bought it.
Yes, because seats have that, like, you know, the back of that seat, the backrest. Okay, that's what it is. That backrest that makes it really hard to actually assemble properly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, you're winning! What? Come on, you muffins!
Guys, a vote for Bad Boy Halo is a vote for child slave.
One who's in favor of child slavery. Can't believe you forced me to like defend that.
Isn't that how you debate? You force people to take more and more ridiculous positions.
Exactly. I'm like, frick, I gotta start and then I was like, wait a minute, this isn't gonna get rid of child slavery just because we get. And I was like, this muffin's just trying.
I was hoping you wouldn't realize.
Yeah, I realized it about halfway through. I'm like, well, child slavery is not that bad. I'm like, what the fudge? Gosh darn you!
Hey, you heard it here first. Child slavery is not bad.
That was a clever meme. I said, "Frick you, muffin."
Someone said in the chat, "Wait, voting for BBH is child slavery. How do I change my vote? I want to vote for BBH."
It's not. Oh my god!
Alienating your small sliver of support here. Your child slavery support.
All the people in favor of child slavery.
Come on, guys. Chairs are made out of blood.
Okay, that's obvious. Now, on a less joking note, I think I will say that remember, guys, the podcast or the show is totally anything we during it is literally not necessarily our actual position. Okay, anything we say is just for the show. We're just debating it as if we really held that, and pretty much we say whatever we can in order to win. So that's our goal. Just keep that in mind. And it looks like I'm going to end up losing. Ian, you have 36%. Bad Boy
And I don't know why you put the
21%.
didn't tune in part.
We always put that for people so that they can go and vote for it without affecting the other thing. Because random people on my Twitter will see it.
Oh, yeah, to be honest, they're just
Why
going
did
to
you
vote for
leave it
you
up
anyways.
for so long?
Yeah, that's why I
Should
put
make
it
the
there
poll
for
like
those
2
ones.
minutes. It's like
I
7
made
minutes
it
long.
3
That's
minutes.
so long.
I made it 3 minutes. What are you talking about?
No, you didn't.
You said
It's
before.
been way more than 3 minutes.
I
Yeah,
said it to
no,
3.
you can't put it to less than 5 minutes on Twitter.
Oh.
Really? But it's 7.
And why do I have that many ants in my freaking desk?
Anyway, here we go. The poll is ending. 196 votes, 36% to Yin, 23% to Bad Boy Halo, 9% tie, 32% didn't tune in. So Yin, it looks like you won your first showing.
I think that's the first time someone wins for the first, try on the show.
I am.
It's not my first time arguing with that. I know how he ticks.
Wow. Okay, I see how it is. I'm writing this down in my book of memers.
Memers, huh?
You did
Memers.
pretty good. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think I did a better job, but what do I know? Apparently, they didn't. Open muffins. Oh, child slavery. Not gonna vote in favor of that. I can't believe I fell for that. That was such a.
Hey, you said it was allowed.
Nah, yeah, it's allowed. I'm upset with myself that I was too stupid and didn't pay attention. Boy. Oh well, what am I gonna do? Anyway, that was a good meme. Good job. That was a good debate.
It was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for coming to the podcast. Check out my Twitter at Saints of Games, YouTube channel Bad Boy Halo. Yin, anything you want to promote?
No, I do not.
He has nothing he wants to promote. In that case, he wants you to check out Prison on Munchie MC. #1 Minecraft server. Check out. We just reset Prison. And we also just set up Survival at 1.15. So if you want to play 1.15, the latest version on Survival, go check out Munchie MC as well. It's very nice. Very shiny. There are bees. Bees everywhere. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in to the podcast. I'll see you guys Thursday.
The podcast is going to be available on onlyhate.us if you missed the part. And all the previous episodes are available on the website.
Yeah.
And on the Spotify, Deezer, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeart, basically everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, so Cindy's coming up. Thanks for listening to the Regis Talk Show and on the hit.